Ragtime. Make believe rag. It's gonna, everybody make believe rag. Sleepy? So what are we doing?
You ready to go now?
You would not know.
It don't mean nothing. You got money on your card?
For what?
To buy this food.
I thought they take cash. Why don't you just call what you want and then I'll pick it up? And then I got cash. Yeah. I got money in my car. I don't like doing nothing over the phone either.
Yeah, I just do it over the phone. Pay for it then.
Hello? You know what you...
All right, now I can hear you.
Yeah, it's about to be the Wi-Fi then. I'm close to the box now.
All right. Well, that's good, man.
I'm just chilling.
Turn up this damn game. Give me a moment.
Yeah, I was in the back room, so that's probably why.
All right, so what's the deal for today?
Nothing, this is a test run right now, you know.
All right.
Never comes to
Well,
mind.
speaking of things that are test, have you been seeing all the nice little fun stuff I've been, poking the bear with at people on Twitter?
You know,
The land of make-believe.
I don't really be on Twitter that much, but I saw you like last week and stuff, but I guess I'm going to have to just start downloading that app again. Because I just do it like on the browser, because I really don't fuck with Twitter like that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so far, because, Lord of the Rings wants to post, inclusivity and all the other good stuff. Because they had, about the new show, The Rings of Power.
Okay.
They went to start talking about.
The Lord of the Rings joint?
Yeah, pretty much they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing whenever inclusivity they want to put into, things that are already established titles, which there's nothing wrong with that, but people got to understand that there's a lot of people that are hardcore fans, about the lore and the story and everything, and they know, like, okay, you guys want to do inclusivity, but you guys didn't read the story, so you would know if you read the story that you don't have to worry about inclusivity to something that's already established because it's already there, but no, people don't read.
Well, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, so you would probably fill me in on that shit.
Oh, long story short, they wanted to put stuff, and I quote, we're all standing in solidarity here because anybody that's complaining about the show is automatically being bigoted are racist.
Okay.
But in actuality, it's people that actually watched the movies and read the books and, and read, watched the old cartoons. So it's like, how you trying to play people? And then, so they want to put this. The hashtag is, you are all welcome here. Because they're trying to say that people are sending racist threats or remarks at people that are the cast members. Because, they have a lot of diverse cast members now.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, like when you look at it, it kind of reminds you of a soap opera opening where it's like, this is such nonsense. But yeah, beat this. So the first thing they put is this. We, the cast of Rings of Power, stand together in absolute solidarity and against the relentless racism threats, harassment, and abuse of some of our castmates of color. We are being subjected to on a daily basis. Refuse to ignore it or tolerate it.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's saying any threats.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's that serious. Then it gets better. Then you want to say, J.R.R. Tolkien created a world which by definition is multicultural, which is true. A world in which free peoples from different races and cultures join together in a fellowship to defeat the forces of evil. It's half truth, because I hate to point out certain stereotypes, but a lot of people that are our color in that story weren't getting themselves on the front line.
Okay.
It was more along the lines of, if anybody came to their doorstep with that BS, they were going to handle it.
Right.
So that's how that was working, which, they don't talk about. But, that's another story. Mm-hmm. Moving on. So then they said this. Rings of Power reflects that our world has never been all white. Fantasy has never been all white. Middle Earth is not all white. BIPOC, that acronym. BIPOC belong in Middle Earth, and they're here to stay. Now, if anyone has read, the whole thing behind Lord of the Rings and the whole thing, they would know where people that have melanin are. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, they're trying to say that anybody that complains about the show is automatically racist or biased or whatever, and that they're sending like threats. But the thing is, though, like, forgive me if I sound blacker than usual, but homie, where are the receipts? Where's the proof?
Right.
I don't see it. Stop the cap.
Uh-huh.
And then you would end it off with this. Finally, all our love and fellowship go out to the fans supporting us, especially fans of color who are especially themselves being attacked simply for existing in this fandom. We see you. Your bravery and endless creativity, your cosplay, fan cams, fan art, and insights make this community a richer place and remind us of our purpose. You are valid, you are loved, and you belong. You are an integral part of the Lord of the Rings family. Thanks for having our backs. And they had like one of the character names of the show, which is like the most dumbest shit ever. And now here's the thing. No one has ever complained about any persons of color doing cosplay. We all know this.
Right.
But don't get me wrong, it's a little bit more of a, I guess you could say, more of a boost in our end when we see people that are, of different ethnicities and such like that doing cosplay for characters that aren't, normally a certain shade. Let's call it what it is.
Right.
So they're trying to say that stuff. They're trying to say, it's this, that, and the third, which is not. And then to make things even better, it's like, again, where's the proof? Where's the receipts? Especially when you got, the people that made Rings of Power. It's like, y'all never watched the show. Y'all aren't into this stuff. So it's like, how are you going to sit here and say this, that, and third and just try to play people? It's, which is pretty much dumb. But to make things even worse, it's like, what you call it? Big people that are calling them out are like, the biggest fans and the biggest stands. And they've been, pointing out everything. So it's like, okay, what's going on? So it's like, it's just like the whole thing about that makes no sense. And it's like, it just seems not just with them, but like almost everybody that's either like trying to create something that's based off of somebody else's IP. It's like, why you want to change stuff? If you're really about that, make something of your own.
So they're basically mad about a book and people in the book, and they don't read or listen or have been involved in watching the series or involved in the series. They're just mad just to be mad. Is that what I'm getting?
No, to be more specified, they're getting mad at people that are criticizing the fact that this new show has nothing to do with the original material. Like, not even like a side material thing. Because, there's always side stories and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's like, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
So they're not doing that. They don't give a piss about the lore and everything and such. So it's like, yo, like how you do that? So it's like they're pretty much taking a steaming hot dump on the lore. They're taking a steaming hot dump on getting any advice from Peter Jackson, because that's the guy that made the trilogy,
Right.
both of them. And on top of that, it's not even a whole diverse cast. That's the problem. Like the main big problem, aside from the things I mentioned, is that the writing is terrible. Like terrible. Like you sit there and just say to yourself, like, okay, like this is the most boring dribble I've ever seen. So how y'all do this stuff? But it's not just affects them. If you think about it, how many shows and movies do we hear that get remade or recast or whatever the case may be that have inclusion? And it's like that's all fine and dandy, but what's the point of doing all this inclusion if your movie sucks or your TV show sucks?
So why people just can't turn it off and just watch something else? They're just looking for something to complain with?
A little bit of both. It's like there's not the people that are really complaining are people that are genuinely into it, but they're trying to say like everybody that complains is being sexist and biased and racist and all that extra stuff. When nobody said anything about that, everyone's been saying the same thing. Like your writing is trash and you didn't even stick to the lore. It's like remaking Halloween, and instead of having Michael Myers with the beat up looking Captain Kirk mask, you got him in a clown mask.
Yeah, that'd be stupid. I see your point.
Or like if they were to redo, Child's Play. Now don't get me wrong, the one where they had like the TV show, that was pretty dope. But it's like, it'd be like they just redo Child's Play, and instead of being like, a little doll, it's a mannequin.
Okay.
Which would be dope, but at the same time, it's not the same thing because, let's be real. When that first Child's Play movie came out, that was like, oh shit.
Yeah, everybody was scared of dolls.
Or it'd be like for example, certain movies back then that just had that whole appeal and effect. Like for example, Final Destination. I think because of that movie, nobody wants to drive behind an 18 or let me rephrase that.
Right.
People now have enough common sense to not drive behind an 18-wheeler.
Kind of like blurring the lines between reality and fiction.
Pretty damn much. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. It's like, a lot of our, like, for example, you remember that classic movie, The Never Ending Story, right?
Yeah, that never ended, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was dope. Now, how would you feel if I told you that some buffoon, and I'm going to take this to my grave, some buffoon wants to remake it?
Why? I mean, certain things need to be...
Exactly.
Go ahead. That goes back to that old argument that Hollywood's just out of ideas, and they just want to just spin it over.
Yep.
Or redo stuff.
Hollywood.
I'm like over it. Like whatever. But kind of go back to your that other point you just had about people doing things over and not doing them right. I remember the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street that came out maybe over 10 years ago, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Like I saw them.
Well, here's the thought though. If hear me out real quick. I'm not disagreeing with you, but here's the thought. All right, it's supposed to be a remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, right? But also at the same token, it's like if they're trying to redo like an introduction with the first movie, because the first movie was not a comedy at all. That was like, oh
yeah,
and then the behind the scenes stuff, it was like, oh
yeah.
Then after that, everything kind of got like that. I say after the second one, everything kind of got a little bit jovial, which wasn't bad, but but the first two had everybody shook.
Yeah. I mean, what?
No, you're definitely right though about
to each their own, man.
Like that.
I tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the first movie was like, what the F, everybody was like not trying to go to sleep and shit, and just like just looking under their bed and shit and all that other stuff, But towards, like you said, the third and the fourth one, he was like, all right, they made him more of a likable, I guess.
Household name.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, who wasn't going to school that next morning after watching the third one saying faster than a speeding bitch?
Right. You know,
Like that shit was great. I mean, granted, it turned Nightmare on Elm Street to like a B movie, but it was a good B movie.
it did. But that remake was interesting. Like, I can't say it was
Yeah,
good. I can't say it was bad, but it was interesting. It was a different spin on things.
I give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, the ending was hilarious. I laughed more than everybody. Everybody was like scared. I laughed, but
Uh, it's like, damn, what happened to all that? You know what? You remember that movie called Swordfish?
yeah, it was good. Classic.
You notice people don't really realize this, but if you go watch that movie again, John Travolta's character takes a lot of jabs at Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say like him, but I can also say like the writer of the movie took a lot of jabs at Hollywood. Because if you think about it, he had that one line where he said, he talks about how people made all these movies and made all these projects and shows and everything that were great and ahead of their time. But nowadays, nobody pushes the envelope.
They don't. They really don't.
And like if you think about it, let's see, when did that movie come out? I'm gonna get back to that thing I was trying to say though, by the way. Wow, that came out in 2001, and it's crazy how that line still matters, like it's still relevant to today. But yeah, back to what I was saying with
It
the whole
was
like Lord of the Rings. But go ahead.
no. Say no. The floor is yours, man.
Yeah. All right. But yeah. So pretty much, I decided to chime in on the whole Lord of the Rings tweet, and I just replied saying this: I'm a person of color, a fan of Peter Jackson, and a fan of Tolkien. This show that you guys have created is terrible, which it is. I watched the first episode, I fell asleep,
That bad, huh?
and then I put, and in my opinion, and my opinion has nothing to do with being racist or self-hating,
Right.
since I'm a person of color. And then I put a little picture of somebody with their eyes rolling, which says, "Oops, I'm sorry, did I roll my eyes out loud?"
Uh-huh.
And then somebody, this German chick, pretty much replied. She was like, "One person of color can be racist as any other human beings. I guess their English is so great. The color of a person's skin doesn't save them from being a racist," which I agree.
What?
And then she put, "Yeah, I mean it's true. I mean we
Well,
got people that are our own people that are self-hating, and then you got our people that want to be like Uncle Ruckus."
Clarence Thomas.
That too. Yeah.
That's the animated version. That's the animated version. The real version of Uncle Ruckus is Clarence Thomas, in my opinion. But yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much. And then she said, "This statement is about the tones of racist comments the POC actors get.
Mm-hmm.
If your critique has nothing to do with racism, then it's totally fine." Should have been smart ass and replied in German, but anyway.
And this is the lady that responded to you. What you said?
Yeah, she was being neutral. I'm like, all right, I respect that. You weren't seeing nothing bad because I agree with everything that she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put this. I said, well, I'm not disparaging that fact. The fact still remains that the lack of receipts from the accusers paints them in the realms of hearsay. I personally loathe the acronym POC, but the desired focal point for my message was achieved. Criticism isn't being biased or racist. And then I put, I'm already crying at the fact that there's a chance that there's a reboot of, like I said, about the never-ending story. So it's like, there's just certain things, like you said, Hollywood is just creatively bankrupt.
Yeah, they are, and this is why nobody goes to the movies. And if they do, it's not going to be like all the time. Like if you really want to see something, but a lot of things you're just going to have to take with a grain of salt. And yeah.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. Did you know? This is an interesting fact I found out recently, but I know this is going to be great material. But did you know that Rotten Tomatoes is, I think it's either Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. One of them is owned by Amazon.
Oh. Surprise, surprise. You know, I never really liked Rotten Tomatoes anyway. It's just a bunch of, I thought it was really like a bunch of
They used to be
14-year-old kids, and they don't like anything, and like they see all these old movies, and they just put their little spin on them.
review bomb
I
them.
really do not like children. Like I really don't like. They're just that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother different story. But these kids are
Oh,
terrible. Like, but they just have no
that's
taste
being
in
nice.
They don't.
Yeah, this generation is definitely one that lacks a lot of tact.
Yeah, I call it the trap generation, the trap babies generation. The it, these are their parents were the ones that were drinking scissor and you know popping mollies all that
Exactly.
stuff, and then lo and behold, that's what came out.
Like we had Similac.
Mm-hmm. And they had Simicrack. Like, crazy.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it that.
But yeah, Amazon taking over like everything. Like I was in a cab yesterday, and then the cab was telling me that they bought floors and the post office on 34th Street.
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you've been downtown in the West Village, you see that building that Google owns, and they've been there for like a solid decade, which is like like I remember that was like literally like the Port Authority building, and then that got like turned around to the Google building. It was like wow. So I'm not surprised. I mean, the Yahoo building, I'm surprised that's still in Times Square. With all their rent.
Right.
But it's just like I was saying with the whole thing. It's like I just don't get it now. Where it's like anything that's bad, that's legit bad. If it gets criticized, it's automatically like, oh, you're being racist, you're being biased.
Of course, because like I said, it goes back to that argument I had on a show of mine that no matter if your opinion is right and you have your facts, and just because one person disagrees with you, you're wrong. Or a group of people don't disagree, you're wrong. Because that's the problem with people nowadays. They can't agree to disagree. It's either their way or no way. And that it's like, I'm tired of that shit personally. I could care less. Like, I'm going to say what I want to say anyway. And I've been doing it. But it's just like, like all that arguing about shit that don't matter anyway, it's just a waste of time. And talking to certain people is a waste of time. Like they had it just drilled in their head that no, I'm right, you're wrong, and I don't want to hear it. So I'm like, all right, fine.
Well, yeah, that's definitely with this generation because it's like I hate to say this, but we've gotten to. There's a friend of mine by the name of Triforce. If anyone knows who I'm talking about, they know who I'm talking about. He said this one thing a long time ago, which is maybe like around in like the early 2000s, like before like around 2009, 2010, around that time. And he said something which is, we're living in a day and age where there is a death of decadence and chivalry.
Interesting.
Like, when's the last time you've seen anything that just happens to like have like a good display of being decadent, or anyone, giving off that decadent behavior, like as men walking around. Like, I'm not gonna front. I've been slowly upgrading my wardrobe because you know what? It's one thing to be jeans and t-shirts when it's laundry day, but at the same token, I like having like casual dress slacks or or golf pants with all the tartan patterns on there because it stands out. It looks dope.
Right.
I like being able to have those on and throw on a vest and just be chilled out. Just, get that look of that nod of approval. Because like we men, we like lingerie, but ladies, they like the little dressy dressed stuff. Doesn't matter what nationality they are.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I can go on the street, go on Times Square, and say, and hold up a picture. Like, do you like this or do you like this?
Right.
Be the same person. Jeans and t-shirt in one picture, and casual dress, in the next picture. Where it's cold hand shoes and casual slacks, a little vest or a nice little button-up shirt. Chill shit.
I hear you. Me myself, I just dress comfortably. Like fuck it. I'm not interested in whatever the fuck anybody else got to offer at this point. Because
exactly.
It is what it is. I got a woman, so I can care less. I work on Wall Street, and I see all kind of female out down there, every flavor and every color, and I'm like, oh, that's nice to look at, but whatever. My supervisor, he can do all that because that's just how he is. So, but I'm like, whatever.
Oh, believe me, everyone gets the attitude of cool story, bro.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I'm ready to work and keep it moving. So
it saves me headaches, especially when I'm preoccupied.
I just got too many of those at the moment, and I just don't need another. Like, it's whatever.
Exactly.
Like, so like I said, I'll be like, I know I've said it 100 times. I said it a couple of times on the gram and these reels I've been doing, but these people are New York ain't shit. Like, this place, like, it was bad before, but it's like live and in color now. Like, enough's enough for this place. Like, I'm serious.
That's why I'm ready.
Alaska, somewhere, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Like if I have to stay here, which more than likely I probably will, because I just gotta save money and whatever, do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
But if an opportunity arises itself where it's doable, and I can live there, and I can take my woman and my cat and all that, and just keep it moving, and so be it. This shit is done.
I'm not gonna front. Portland was looking nice, and I'm like, granted, Portland is home of Antifa, another. Hey, can you hold on? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I had a phone call.
Yeah, it happens. So, but yeah, this was alright. We could do this again soon. Or we can continue this a little later. I gotta go back. I gotta go step out.
Alright. I'm probably gonna have to go make that return phone call. Yeah, nice to know that this is working. Get a little test run going on.
Definitely.
And if it helps, since you got we both got access to the audio stuff. I got plenty of video game footage that I can just put the audio right over.
Like I said, you just put your part in, I put my part in, and we just put it together, because I haven't been able to do a regular episode because of this. Like, the other platform I was using, which shall not be named right now.
Yeah.
That it was fine. I was using that as how I started, and it wasn't working anymore. So, no, try this one and go from there.
Well, if you want, it seems like YouTube is starting to win the war on streaming because everybody else is just starting to suck. And worst case scenario, if you want to keep something simple, like 10 to 20 minute episodes or whatever, there's BitChute, but there's also Rumble as well.
Okay.
So
yeah,
options are there.
Like, and it'll be a lot easier in the next couple of weeks, being as my schedule is changing and I'll have more time, on a weekend and not having to work Sunday and Monday and shit. So that'd be great. I just, so that would definitely be better for me to have some free time, some things going on. And hopefully if everything works out, then I'll have a lot more free time to do shit. So we shall see.
Definitely got you on that. But yeah, just if anything, just hit me up later. Anything could definitely have a sit down and get some topics and titles out the way. That way, we could be point A to point B with everything that we're trying to get.
Yeah, and there's Zoom too, and
exactly.
Cool, man. So we'll work it out.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Later.